Portland's harbor, of course, if you're not familiar with it, is protected by kind of the worst of the ocean by Cape Elizabeth.
That's where we find Chris Costa, where a boat has actually run aground this morning. Hi, Chris.
Oh. Hey guys, sorry, having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. We're in Cape Elizabeth and Trundy Point. Cell phone service is not great. That's how we're trying to hear you guys back at the station. Here's the situation we have right now. This 50-foot fishing vessel, the Tara Lynn 2, we've been telling you about it all morning. It has washed up on the beach here at Trundy Point. Now here's what we know. The U.S. Coast Guard told us that around midnight, 12:36 a.m., they got a mayday call from the crew. There were 4 people on board. At about 1:20 a.m., Cape Elizabeth's fire department's wet team went out on a skiff, rescued all 4 crew members from that boat, brought them in. No reports of injuries at this time. Now the Coast Guard is trying to figure out 2 things. One, what was happening? Why was this boat out during the middle of this storm? I talked to one of the gentlemen who says he repairs this boat. First of all, he says this boat is likely a total loss. He said he also spoke to the owner, and that the owner told him they were offshore fishing, trying to get back in the middle of the night, which he says is common. The second thing that the Coast Guard is trying to figure out now is, can they salvage this boat, given the position that it's in? It's 11:09, just about. That means our high tide is coming up at about noon, so about an hour from now, a little bit less. They're going to see if they can use that to their advantage to try to tow this boat out from the position that it's stuck in and try to tow it into some kind of port. Again, the man who told me he repairs this boat says they just did a big overhaul on this thing in November. It's very unlikely that this is salvageable. Other lobstermen who have been kind of coming here to take a look, and if you see them over there, a gentleman in a neon yellow jacket, he's a lobsterman who said, I've been watching this thing get tossed by these waves all morning long. There's no way this thing is salvageable. We heard from the governor the other day asking people not to come out to the coast to look at some of this, and that's one of the things. From where we are, we're pretty safe, but Scout, I don't know if you can shoot kind of in between this far left archway, right here. You can see how big the waves are. They are massive and they are strong. As somebody who spends a decent amount of time on the water in the summer, I can tell you those are dangerous waves. That is not anything that you want to be anywhere near in any type of personal craft. One thing that we also noticed from this boat, the smell of the diesel fuel that's coming off. And actually, Scout, if you pan down at the ground right now, you can see these waves are really starting to come up into the seagrass here. So it's sort of an indication of how this tide is rising even higher as we get closer and closer to noon. So a lot of things for both the Coast Guard, the fire department, the harbor master here to figure out. The good news is we do know that those 4 crew members are safe, but we do have a lot of people coming out to kind of take a look at this. And keep in mind, if you live along the coast, you likely got an emergency alert on your phone not too long ago, warning of the terms of the emergency alert: life-threatening or dangerous flash flooding. An alert that they said, I think, goes until 1 p.m. Please keep that in mind and do not travel unless you have to. Those are the words of the alert. But again, a lot of people curious about seeing the big waves, and then obviously the spectacle over my shoulder here, this boat that has just been beached. We're going to send things back to you guys in the studio so we can get a check on the other areas of the coast. One last note, though, that I'll say, it does seem that the rain here has started to calm down, which is good news, but the wind still gusting very strong.
All right, Chris Costa in Cape Elizabeth with really quite an impressive image there. Perhaps the only silver lining of this exceptionally high tide coming at noon would be the opportunity to tow that back out into the water. Otherwise, everyone else is kind of concerned about what's going to happen over the next hour.
Right.